to have a bad day today, but for sure we had. It was not meant to be today. We could not cope with many difficult situations that we were preparing.
What does domination look like to you? Winning trophies and not losing to anybody. That surely is domination. But you know what the height of domination is? Winning a league title without losing a single game all season. Not many clubs can boast of this. Some can say they came close, like Real Madrid in 2023-24 and Barcelona in 2017-18, but only a handful of clubs in Europe managed to go an entire season without tasting defeat even once. And those are the teams we're going to be telling you about in this video today. These are 6 clubs that turned invincible. Spoiler alert, Xabi Alonso is not the only active manager on this list. Can you guess who the other guys are? Send us your guesses in the comments, we'll see if you're right later. Now at the sight of this topic, I'm pretty sure one club popped up in your head, so we'll just start with them, Arsenal. These guys did not only become invincible, but they also took that tag and wore it like a crown. See, in the early 2000s, Arsenal were unstoppable. They had Arsene Wenger in 1996, and he managed to assemble a team of champions, threatening the dominance of Manchester United with his new ideas and technologies. The French manager led Arsenal to 2 domestic doubles in 1998 and 2002, but none of these doubles meant half as much to the fans as the league title they won in the 2003-2004 season. Do you know why? Because they turned invincible when they did it. That season, Arsenal finished with 90 points, won 26 games, and scored 73 goals in the Premier League. But the number that meant the most to the fans was 0. They lost 0 games all season, which made them the first club in the entire history of English football to go on a 38-game season without losing a single game. And it wasn't easy. Their biggest rivals very nearly came close to snatching this bragging right away from them in what was later named the Battle of Old Trafford. That game between Arsenal and Man United was the peak of drama. It had everything you could have asked for in a football match, well, except for goals. Arsenal captain Patrick Vieira was sent off in the 80th minute, and Man United were awarded a penalty in the very last minute of the game. At that point, the game looked like a certain loss for Arsenal, but somehow Ruud van Nistelrooy hid the woodwork from the spot, and the game ended 0-0. It was so intense and so insane, and it felt like something changed in the air that day, which made the Arsenal players and fans begin to feel unbeatable. But did you know that Arsenal are not the only club in the UK to turn invincible? Do you know who else did it? Tell us in the comments and let me see who knows their football. Anyway, Bayer Leverkusen's story in the 2023-24 season was a little different from Arsenal's. You see, Leverkusen had never even won the Bundesliga before. So, when they hired Xabi Alonso in 2022, the fans didn't even dare to dream of a league title coming less than 2 years later, much less winning it undefeated. But the former midfield maestro came and helped Leverkusen break the Bayern dominance in the Bundesliga. Leverkusen were just so good that season, but I think the word that best describes their campaign was inevitable. They were well and truly inevitable. They were down so many times that season, but they were just never out. On so many occasions, it looked like Leverkusen would finally lose a football match, but somehow they would just manage to work their magic and pull off a comeback from nowhere to either secure a win or a draw with some late goals. And what made this a little crazier was that while they were doing this in the league, they were also doing it in Europe. And this earned them the nickname Bayer Neverlosen. Leverkusen, or Neverlosen if you like, became the first team in the entire history of the Bundesliga to go an entire season without losing a single game. And they also won a record 28 out of their 34 games that season. As we said, they were simultaneously doing this in Germany and Europe, and they were able to set a new record for the longest unbeaten run in the history of European football during one season, after going 51 games without losing. 51! Crazy! They nearly crowned this insane season with a treble, but Ademola Lookman had something to say about that in the Europa League final. Nonetheless, it's a season nobody will forget in a hurry. To win your first ever league title in that manner? Nah, that's proper legendary stuff. And you know what else would be legendary right now? Giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel so you get to see more content like this. Now, straight back to it. Remember, we told you that Xabi Alonso is not the only active manager to have achieved this insane feat. One of the other guys is Antonio Conte, who got that right. Conte did it with Juventus in the 2011-12 season. You see, at the time, Juventus had not won the Scudetto since 2005, so they brought in former player Antonio Conte in 2011 to help restore them to past glory, and he wasted absolutely no time doing that. His 3-5-2 formation made for a very entertaining watch for fans. He was bamboozling teams while also maintaining defensive solidity. He led Juventus to home and away victories against Inter Milan for the first time in 6 years, beat rivals Fiorentina 5-0, and went on to win the league after beating Atalanta 3-1 in the penultimate league game. It was a truly historic season, as it marked the first time a team had ever gone an entire 38-game Serie A season without losing a single game. Of course, it was very impressive, and it's something you'll never be able to take away from Juventus and their fans, but there was a little blip there. That season, Juventus drew an awful lot of games. They drew 15 out of their 38 games, which is why, even though they were unbeaten all season, they didn't run away with the league, only winning it with a game to go. For context, Juventus drew almost twice as many games as Lazio, who finished 4th in the table that season. But hey, in the grand scheme of things, does it matter? That year, Juventus turned invincible, and nobody can take that away from them. But come to think of it, we would love to see a club go an entire season unbeaten, but end up not winning the league just because they drew one too many games. Liverpool nearly gave us this in the 2018-19 Premier League campaign, when they lost just one game all season, but ended up finishing second to Man City, who lost 4. Anyway, back to the Invincibles. Remember we told you that Arsenal are not the only team from the UK who have gone undefeated throughout a season. Yeah, we'll talk about the other guys in a bit, but first look at AC Milan. Yes, they too finished a Serie A season unbeaten. Yeah, we know what we said. Antonio Conte's Inter Milan are the only team to go an entire 38-game Serie A season without losing a single game. The key phrase there is 38-game Serie A season. You see, when AC Milan did it under the management of the great Fabio Capello in the 1991-92 season, the Serie A was still a 34-game tournament. It was Capello's first ever season as a permanent first-team coach, and he just casually went and made history. That season, Milan won 22 of their 34 games. But you know the craziest part? Capello very nearly went 2 whole seasons without losing a single game. His first Serie A loss as a first-team coach came in March 1993, nearly 2 full years after his first game. If he'd managed to go invincible for 2 full seasons, it would easily have gone down as the craziest achievement in the entire history of European football. Milan's unbeaten run between 1991 and 1993 went on for 58 league games, an Italian record which still stands today. And guys, I swear you won't believe who Milan had playing in midfield that season. A certain dude named Carlo Ancelotti. Yes, Don Carlo played under Fabio Capello. That's just crazy, isn't it? Let's now get to that other mystery football club from the UK. Their name? Celtic. The Scottish outfit hired former Liverpool boss Brendan Rodgers in 2016, and in his first season as coach, he made history as he guided Celtic to the Scottish Premiership title without losing a single game, becoming the first team to do this in a 38-game Scottish Premiership season. On its own, that sounds crazy, but what made it even crazier was how they did it. Celtic did not only avoid defeat, but they also won 34 of their 38 games, finishing with an insane 106 points, the highest point tally a team has ever amassed in a single European top-flight season. On top of that, they won the league by a whooping 30-point margin, the second largest in the entire history of European top-flight leagues, behind only PSG, who won the French League One with a 31-point margin in 2016. And if that wasn't enough, Celtic also went ahead to complete the domestic treble without losing a single game, going on a 47-game unbeaten domestic run in the 2016-17 season. They continued that run the following season, and it went on for 69 games. Listen guys, we've not seen dominance like this before. These guys ran riot. But, you know, as a saying somewhere in Scotland probably goes, what Celtic can do, Rangers can do as well. So, Rangers went and hired their own former Liverpool man Steven Gerrard, and just like Rodgers did for their rivals, he was able to make them invincible in the 2021-22 season. That season, Rangers won 32 games and finished with 102 points, becoming the first team in the Scottish Premiership to pass the century mark since their bitter rivals Celtic did it in 2017. In 38 games that season, Rangers conceded just 13 goals, breaking Chelsea's British record for fewest goals conceded in a league season. They also won all their 19 home games and kept a clean sheet in 26 of their 38 games, a Scottish record. That season was a truly phenomenal one for Rangers, and what made it sweeter was that they recorded back-to-back wins against Celtic on their way to breaking Celtic's dominance in the league and claiming the title for the first time in a decade. That was Steven Gerrard's first trophy as a manager, and first ever league title as both a player and a manager. And what a way to do it, right? That Invincible campaign had people thinking that Gerrard was surely going to take over as Liverpool boss after Jurgen Klopp, but then he moved to Aston Villa in 2021. And well, we all know how that ended, don't we? Anyway, those are 6 clubs that turned invincible. Was your club mentioned in this video? Go ahead and rep them in the comments. And who do you guys think will be the next club to join this elite team of Invincibles? Let us know your predictions in the comments. As always, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel to show your support.